What's up, YouTube? This is your boy, Prince Cowboy, coming to you from the Cold Cheese and Hot Bullets podcast. Well, folks, it's the end of our season. It was a good run. We did everything we kind of aspired to do, and we did things that we wasn't supposed to do. What can I say? The Cowboys, we lost the game last night. This to be plain and simple. Let's just be real. We lost the game. We played a great game for the first half, and then on the second half, we lost it. When Tony Pollard went down right before halftime, it's just everything went down. But we came in with some unnecessary stress coming into the game with our kicker, Brad Maher. Don't know if he's gonna make a kick, which that shouldn't be an issue at all when you had a field goal kicker that's been making all year, or making kicks all year with no problems. In fact, he was making so many good kicks, they call him Money Maher, but he was, budget deficit Maher when we got to the playoffs, which I don't understand that. But only in Cowboy world that goes down. But for the most part, I'm gonna be honest. I'm proud of this season. We did better than last year, and that's pretty much what I was looking for. I did not predict Super Bowl. I said my prediction was 13-4 in playoffs. Obviously, we fell short with the Commanders game. We got blown out the water, which honestly, like I said, they didn't take that game serious because both the offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore and our defensive coordinator and Dan Quinn was just basically saying they was experimenting on plays, which is what it looked like they was doing. Can't make no excuses for special teams because when my man dropped the ball, and they gained Cavante Turpin dropped that ball. That still wasn't a good excuse for the special teams. I thought special teams should have played as good as they did, like they've been doing all year. But that's another story for another time. I already talked about that game. But for the most part, we did everything we supposed to do to get to a particular point. Last year, we was one and done against the 49ers. This year, we made it past Tom Brady. We knocked down a legend, which we made history because it was our first time in 30 years that we won a road playoff game ever since 92, ever since the beginning of our Super Bowl run in the 90s with Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith. You had Novacek, and you also had Big Moose Johnston as our main offensive quarterback then. This year, we broke the 30-year curse of that. Then we also made another record where it was our first time in 15 years that we made a back-to-back playoff appearance ever since the 2007 season. To me, that's progress. I mean, the game wasn't a success, but this year was a progress, even though we ended with the same record, 12-5. But hell, as long as it gets you in the playoffs, that's all what matters. If you can get in the playoffs, your ending record don't matter. Just like the first and last games really don't matter in the season. Once you make the playoffs, you will know before the last game that you made the playoffs, unless it's just wearing them down to the wires like the Green Bay Packers, where it's down to the last wire that you got to play that last game. But for the most part, if you got a record like 12-5, 13-4, I would say 12-5, 13-4, 14-3. If you got anything from 12 and beyond, you will know before the last game that you made the playoffs. So the first and last games really don't matter. It's just, hey, just get in the big game. Let me get in the dance, and then I'm going to strut my best moves off to make it to the finalists of the last of the dance championships. We got to the dance. We had an amazing game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, a splendid game. It was night and day between the 49ers and the Bucks. That did everything right. He didn't throw no interceptions. We had good running yards. It was plug and play. Very creative. Hooray, hooray. And then we get to this Niners game in the divisional playoffs, and we played a great, solid first half. You know what I mean? Tony Pollard was starting to get his foot underneath him, his feeling of the game. Zeke actually produced some pretty good, start off yards. Our receivers was clicking. Yeah, Dak threw the interception in the first half to kind of bring the momentum back their way. Our defense was hitting hard. Was nobody playing scared football. In other words, basically, to be honest with you, our defense played solid all the way up to the end or to the beginning of the fourth quarter. But they started lacking because our offense was not scoring any points. And that's been my biggest problem the whole season about my team. It's just they get lackluster and vanilla in certain parts of the game, or sometimes the whole game they get vanilla, just like the first game of the season with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to make a video. My next video is going to be talking about the difference between the read option and the West Coast offense, because it need to be talked about, because that was the biggest battle of the season. Whereas McCarthy believes in the West Coast offense and Kellen Moore was battling on the read option. And I'm going to get into that, so I'm not going to get into details. That's for my next video. But with all that said, with the confusion of the two different philosophies, with the injury with Dak over the season, his second to 6 games being out, which he was out for 5 games. We was able to still get 4 out of 5 games. With him coming back and throwing all them interceptions, we still had a pretty splendid season. The 49er game could have been better. Dak could have played much better. He had room to extend the plays just like he did in Tampa Bay. He just didn't run forward. I wish we would have used his legs more. I wish they would have played Malik Davis after my man Tony Pollard went down. Malik Davis is not a bad back. He's a young back, but he could have produced major yards. I wish that we would have went more to T.Y. Hilton. See, that's the problem with read option plays. That's one of the problems where, okay, if a guy goes down, it seems like your whole offense collapse. See, in West Coast offense, you got sheets full of plays that the players are comfortable with, where 9 times out of 10 the players gonna complete, and it keeps the offense fluid. See, read option, it's a 50% chance your offense gonna stay fluid. It depends on the team and the skill level of the team you're going against. It's good or bad, or it's a 50% chance that it'll go dead if you're going against a team like 49ers that's not going to let you get anything without some hard work. And that's another issue for another video. But for the most part, listen, overall, I'm proud of my team season. They did better than last year. And that's what I was looking for. Will they do better than last year? Will we be 1 and done, or can we be 2 and done? It's not easy winning Super Bowls. Let's be honest, it's been 27 years. We're coming into next year. It'd be 28 years since the Dallas Cowboys had landed a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's why most times with the Cowboy fans, we say we lied like 95, because that was the last time we won a Super Bowl. Here to the Commander fans, because I know I got a couple of Commander fans that subscribe to this channel. It's been 30 years. It'd be 31 coming up next year since they won a Super Bowl. 31, I think they won one in the 91-92 season. Yeah, going into 92. So it's been like 31 years since the Commanders won a Super Bowl. The 49ers, it's been 28 years since they won a Super Bowl. They might pull it off this year. So Super Bowls is not easy to come by, man. It's got to be luck meets skill meets opportunity. Yes, you got to have a little luck to get to the Super Bowl, because you got to worry about the health of your players. We lost Tony Pollard at the most critical time of the game yesterday. I feel personally, if we would have had Tony Pollard throughout the whole game, we probably would have won that game. I mean, they beat us by 6 last year, and then this year they beat us by a whole touchdown. I feel that in the offseason, we need to get guys that can be 14 points better than the San Francisco 49ers. They need to be our vocal point when we draft again next year like it was last year. Yes, we need to fire Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's got to go. I feel Kellen Moore has been a big Achilles heel in our side, because it's a constant battle. We need to get Mike McCarthy offensive coordinator, and I think he needs to be included into the process that believe in the West Coast offense. And I need our next offensive coordinator to be run happy and not pass happy. And I need our offensive coordinator to be not stuck on one thing, but be creative. The sad thing about this game is we still had a lot of talent on offense that we could have displayed and rolled out there. When Tony Pollard went down, I mean, they seemed like they got lackluster. The motion, they stopped doing motion. T.Y. Hilton, shoot, after the first half, you didn't see T.Y. Hilton in the second half of the game. Maybe in one play. We got him especially for the playoffs, and we did not play him in the playoffs. It's just like last year. We only ran Tony Pollard 4 times in the game when he was averaging 6.8 yards a carry. It just don't make sense. If you're going to get players for the playoffs, you put him in the playoffs. And then they want to put Adrian Smith on the offensive line, which he was balling in the preseason. But now you would decide to roll him out there. You supposed to have had him rolled out there at least 4 games, the last 4 games of the season. So everything is just ass backwards with the Cowboys when it comes down to making decisions on who to choose to play on their roster and the plays that they call. That's why I'm gonna make this next video, talking about the difference between the West Coast offense and the read option, because the read option do not fit our team. And you asking young players to do impossible things like read a defense. That means all your receivers is pretty much going to have to go to quarterback class to learn how to read the defense so they can play effectively. They got to see the things the way the quarterback sees it. Instead of with the West Coast, they just run their best route and get open, and the ball will come to them. Now, it may take a little longer for the offensive line to hold up the defense until they get their groove, until they get into the move of their routes to get open, but it's better because they're running plays that's comfortable for them to get open to make a play. And with West Coast offense, you never get a vanilla moment or a down or dead dropping moment where it's just a bland offense. It's always moving every play. But yeah, like for the most part, I'm proud of this season. We didn't get to the objective that we wanted, and ultimately it's the Super Bowl. But it's hard to get to Super Bowls, and it's hard to win a Super Bowl. I at least wanted to see the NFC Championship, but we got the game before it, so we did progress from 1 and done to 2 and done. So overall, this season was a success. The last game wasn't a success, but this season was a success for us overall. Big ups to the 49ers fans. I'm not a sore loser at all, man. I give it up to the 49ers. They took Mr. Irrelevant and made him relevant in Brock Purdy. Shanahan is still the man with them plans. He always got a plug and play. And I wish my offense was fluid like that, where we could plug and play anybody and we still be as good. That is the next step that the Dallas Cowboys is going to have to go to. We're going to have to go to a plug and play offense, which Mike McCarthy was trying to get us to that point. Well, if we lose a vital player, we can still maintain the great play that we've been doing, even with or without the star player. You know, so it was many options that we could have went to, but it's just we need to do better. Dak Prescott with the interceptions. I mean, I defend you, I fight for you hard, Dak, but it's hard for me to defend you when you constantly throwing these interceptions. I understand that they call that play for you to play, but if you see something different than what the play's supposed to result to, throw that ball out of bounds. Or check down, put your head down, run the ball, and lean forward to extend the play. So I'm saying I'm like this on Dak. He got one last season. And I'm going to be like Reese. After this last season, I don't see nothing different from Dak. I don't see a difference maker. Because he had me sold in that Tampa Bay game. When he got to San Francisco, he just lost his ability to play quarterback. Hey, I'm going to be like, man, you can hit the duck. Love me some Dak, but god darn it, dog. Please. Don't make it worse for you. I can't defend you, bro. Come on, Dak. They pay you good money for this, and I don't like counting nobody's pockets, but man, when you get your contract, man, I think I expect you to play better ball. I expect you to cut your coaches out when they give you them BS plays. This is not gonna work. No, I'm not running this. You got every right to say it. I'm tired of hearing I'm gonna do better and you don't do better. Quit saying I'm gonna do better and be better. All right, but for the most part, the season was a success. We got past what we was last year, and that's pretty much all I gotta say, man. We're gonna go to the OTAs. We're gonna start talking about draft. We're gonna get into some NBA. So it's not gonna stop, and we're gonna talk about the rest of these playoffs. Unfortunately, my team is not in it, but it's cool. It is what it is. Hell, my partner team didn't make the playoffs. So I was blessed to make the playoffs. And no shade to you, Risa, man. It's all good. It's love. But I was blessed to make the playoffs and actually do something great in the playoffs and actually break 2 curses. So we did break 2 curses. That's why it's very successful, man. We had a bad last game, but we did break 2 curses. That means we can eventually get in this Super Bowl. We just need to get the right offensive coordinator to go along with Mike. Because I still like Mike. I don't want to fire Mike. I just want to get rid of my offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? They talking about get rid of the quarterback. I don't want to get rid of Dak. I just want to get rid of my offensive coordinator because I want to see how Dak could do with a West Coast offensive mind coordinator and coach. I think he'd be much better, and I think he'll start developing natural juices to make him a leader and make him that playmaker that you see in them at Holmes. And even though Josh Allen didn't play great, Josh Allen and all them top guys that they talk about, he got it in him. He just need the right tutelage. And I don't get why they got his backup quarterback, that usually be his backup, being his offensive coordinator anyway. That's another thing that irks me. He wasn't even good enough to beat Dak Prescott out of a quarterback job. Better yet, having him there as an offensive coordinator. It boggles my mind. But that's another story for another time. I'm done. I'm out. Thank you for showing up at the Cold Cheese and Hot Bullets podcast.